Oklahoma, LSU. LSU is a 6-point favorite. The over-under I have is 22 rush attempts for Jackson Arnold. Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot. In the 3 SEC games that he started since getting his job back, that's his average. Last week against Bama, 25 rushes for 131 yards. Didn't matter that Oklahoma offense was predictable. Oklahoma came out with a plan, executed that plan against a defense that struggled with everything that related to tackling. Okay. I don't want to say that LSU has figured out the quarterback run defense because Diego Pavia, again, very limited. DJ Lagway, apparatus, as limited as one can be from a mobility standpoint. Oklahoma would be insane not to use that 1-2 punch in the ground game after what we saw from Xavier Robinson, a breakout game for the true freshman. He finally gets that workload, and he looks excellent. I'm assuming that Brent Venables is going to be fine for this one and that he didn't spend all week on the toilet after he and his daughters got $94 worth of Taco Bell. I know they raised their prices a little bit, but you're doing some damage to spend $94 at Taco Bell. That's like carload of people, and then let me get the people behind them, and then let me make sure that I'm going to tip very well. I like this person to the drive-through. $94, even in this economy, that goes a long way. I haven't had Taco Bell since the comeback, since rivalry week 2010. And I know because I watched the comeback while battling food poisoning from Taco Bell. So it's been a minute for me. Been 14 years. Can you speak on Taco Bell prices? $94. That's so much food. That's an army of food.
Yeah, I'm probably the worst person to talk to around Thanksgiving when it comes to eating large quantities of food. I think, they just actually put up a new Taco Bell in my parents' hometown, and I'm now thinking about it. I went there last time I was there. Cleanest, nicest. It looked like a Taco Bell test kitchen. I had to check it out. But yeah, I think that's not that. I feel like a car full of people. You could average you're averaging about $25 a person with a tip. I think that's doable. It's like 4 or 5 things.
Gosh, now I'm just trying to think of how you would. Everything's steak. Yeah, you're not getting chicken for anything. I guess it can be done, but I definitely wanted the visual to accompany that. I wanted to see what
they got these upscale. I'll tell you, they got these upscale cantina tacos now. A little bit more cantina quesadillas that are a little bit more expensive. So that'll probably do it.
I was a big Crunchwrap Supreme guy back in the day. That was the go-to. Very, very good. Vibes couldn't be more different for Oklahoma compared to LSU. And I think while they're both coming off of wins, they just feel like they're in different places, what they're trying to do. People are going to throw around culture, make of that what you will. But I think that matters in a game like this. I'm going to once again pick LSU to lose at home. I know that bit me last week. I'm going with Oklahoma to pull off an upset on the road. I say they win 27-23. Design runs work again for the Oklahoma, more so the quarterback situation. I was thinking to myself, there could be a possibility that Michael Hawkins gets some run in this one. I don't think that'll actually be the case after what Jackson Arnold did last week. But I'm going to say that the Oklahoma defense frustrates Garrett Nussmeier. And this is another one of those games where he's backpedaling too much. He starts forcing throws. Danny Stutzman's in his ear. Billy Bowman picks him off at least once. Again, not sure that means Oklahoma feels like it has a model for its offensive future, but a weird regular season in Norman closes out with wins against Bama and LSU.
This is a fascinating matchup. To your point, I went and I looked, and LSU went a month without a win because of the bye week in there.
Long time.
And I went to go check and see if that had happened. It happened actually in 2021 during kind of that like October stretch I was talking about. Bo Nix was just smacking LSU, but I think that a lot of the stuff. So like I will say this. One thing I've really prided myself on here is being objective when it comes to LSU and having a really good read on LSU. And I remember talking about in the preseason, I didn't think this team was awesome, and they fooled me for a little bit. What I'm saying, and I've been just relentlessly wrong at picking the outcome of this team's games lately. I mean, worse than any other team because of how weird they've been and how I couldn't have anticipated them going a month without a win. And I also picked the Vandy upset along with you, and that just kind of, to be honest, Diego Pavia was kind of hurt, right? So like this is what it comes down to is that, even they faked the punt at the end of the game. It was a 1-score game. Like that wasn't exactly a bad pick. I say that to say, I think that the vibe stuff with LSU is like, man, there is not a group of people that gossip more than Southern dudes. Like I'm seeing it more and more. And when it comes to Brian Kelly, now that he's my coach, like, oh my God, you guys are talking to like the center of the team to where it's like, I don't know, Brian Kelly didn't have an X's and O's conversation with me as a quote I saw the other day from a center. Give it a rest, man. Like, goodness. I feel like I come, like, if you guys want to talk about the scissor lift thing, let's talk about it. That's a problem. If you guys want to talk about some of the funny things Brian Kelly's done, punching tables, executing his team, he was to execute his team, let's talk about that. I feel like it's the new fun thing to do to just call up ex Brian Kelly players and be like, give me one story about Brian Kelly. All the Southern dudes are going to love this. They're going to get on their little Twitter fingers. They're going to all come together. And then when you say, does it really matter that a center doesn't talk X's? No, I don't. Does Dabo do that? Did Nick Saban do that? Like, is that something that you expect? Doesn't happen in the NFL. Every NFL player has said, and they just go, well, but Brian Kelly's a bad guy, and you just should. Okay, so you just want to have a little social circle about Brian Kelly, and like I get it. You know, the Bryce Underwood thing. I haven't even talked about that. I don't think we have time for it today. But at the end of the day, you know, I think that this season had an extra loss in it. It's really all it was. It was the Florida game. Pretty simple, right? You could argue, you know, maybe they should have lost Ole Miss, whatever. But at the same time, this team is not crazy off schedule from what I thought it would be. Yeah, the offensive coordinator probably needs to be replaced, probably is coaching for his job here. But at the end of the day, if you're the Oklahoma team that is five, like that's what I've said about this. It's like Brian Kelly won 10 games both of his seasons at LSU. And now he's just above 500, about to get to 8 wins. And I'm wondering, like, what did these people do for the entire Les Miles era? Like there was just no Twitter, so they couldn't gossip about stuff because we sat here and we watched 8 and 9 win LSU teams over and over and over again, and nobody was sitting there going, "This Northerner, this Les Miles guy who eats grass, we got to get him out of here. He's not connecting with the players." We were running 2 routes, and people were still with it, you know. And so like that's my thing. The vibes thing, I'm not going to be concerned about until it really is like the players on the team saying it. This is a weird team. Like I said, I'm going to be excited when the upperclassmen get up out of here. But that being said, I think that winning that game against Vandy did matter a lot. I think that could have been an exodus right before National Signing Day. So I'm not going to say, oh, the vibes are terrible at LSU. Oh, doom and gloom. Because at the end of the day, they still have a better recruiting class. A lot of these teams were excited about. They still have a better record than a lot of these teams were excited about. And so, yeah, I think Oklahoma and what they did against Bama is awesome. I think it's going to be a down-to-the-wire game. I'm not, like excusing that or anything. I would think at some point, Blake Baker has to go, what if we took away a quarterback's legs? They had no interest in that against Jalen Milroe. I refuse to believe that Jackson Arnold will now cook me with his legs. But that's the kind of disappointment that LSU under Brian Kelly has often set its fans up for. I get that side of it. When they lose, it looks rough. And so that being said, I think, Brian Kelly's only lost one game, like the night games in Tiger Stadium. I think that they've been really good at home. And I think this is going to come down to it. And I think we need to see leadership at a Nussmeier. We just see the playership of the players only meeting because you're right. This defense should pick him off. They should create those turnovers. I think that's what it comes down to. I'm going to go LSU winning by 3, but I could so easily see exactly what you just mentioned. The offense, staying on the field but that's a testament to Oklahoma's defense. We don't think Alabama's trash because Oklahoma beat them. We talked about it last week. We were complimenting this great Oklahoma defense. So that's my only point about the vibes here. Like, Oklahoma fans are probably more disappointed in their season than LSU fans are right now. Big win against Alabama definitely helps. But I think that this is still not a very deep or talented Oklahoma team outside of the defense and some of the leadership there. So I think that winning 2 of those games in a row, or two of those games in a row, is a really big deal in the SEC. It's really hard to do, and I don't think Oklahoma has the horses for it right now.
Huge game for the future of both quarterbacks.
For sure.
Really big. For Nuss, it's pretty obvious what that future could be. Do you come back and have another year to start at LSU? What does that NFL draft feedback looks like? I don't know if he's going to get NFL draft feedback before the bowl game and what all that's going to look like. Maybe he's going to play out the bowl game and kind of see where he's at. Kind of feels like we're trending more and more with the NFL wanting to see these guys have multiple years starting in college. I certainly would feel more comfortable in a situation like that. And then with Jackson Arnold, this is kind of your last opportunity, man. Like you don't really get the bowl game in this day and age to assume that that's going to be the case. This could be a situation where you play this game and then next week you sit down in Brent Venables' office and you hopefully Taco Bell stench has passed by then, the aftermath of that. And
you sit in Brett Venables' office. He's farting egregiously to establish dominance. You're pinching your nose, going, "Coach, I can't breathe."
Brent Venables was like, good. I wanted to make sure he didn't want to play here at all. What a great note for me to send him off. No, in all seriousness, those conversations are had. And in this day and age, it's, okay, where are we at? Do you want me? Do I want to be here? Can we make this work from an NIL standpoint? Where are both of us at this point? And what does next year look like? You have to figure that out in early December now. And I think Oklahoma has to do that with Jackson Arnold. And I think that there is so much to figure out with this new coordinator hire, and that's going to determine a lot of this as well. But these conversations are happening, and how you finish matters. If you finish by beating Bama and then by beating LSU
And
too,
then by beating
Valley,
LSU, you're set, bro.
that says a lot about where you're at. So yes, a very, very pivotal game. I'm kind of glad that we're split on that one. Very, very glad.
And I'll say this real quick too. Just one note about Nussmeier. Nussmeier's been leaned on really heavy this year. You know, Nussmeier's now third all time for single season LSU passing yardage.
I can name the two that he's behind.
Exactly.
They have a certain Heisman Trophy. Exactly.
Yeah. So that's the thing. This offense is leaning too hard on Nussmeier. Nussmeier's not a bad player. He had a better year one than either Joe Burrow or Jaden Daniels. I think that's pretty clear with the amount he was asked to do. Those guys were not, outside of the FSU game, Jaden Daniels was not asked to win games the way that Nussmeier has been. So I think some of that Bryce Underwood NIL money goes to keep Nuss back home. And I think Oklahoma's in a similar situation. To your point, I'm so fascinated by where Oklahoma goes from here. They've found some success with running quarterbacks, be it Hawkins or Jackson Arnold, or they try to kind of lean that way. I mean, do you think that Jackson Arnold is involved in the OC hire? Like, do you think that's the pitch that they make where they go?
See, that's the thing. You got it. And that's why it comes back to Venables. How does Venables feel about you? Because if he's going to make this hire, and if he has a vision for what he wants his offense to look like and what he wants from a complementary football standpoint, then you have to kind of be the one to make that decision. If you feel like, hey, this is a package deal, or you're going to tell Jackson Arnold, hey, I'm going to bring in a new coordinator. That's most important to me. And I'm going to let them kind of run this offense and do what they're going to do. That doesn't guarantee you anything. You're more than welcome to hit the portal if you feel like that's in the best need for you, because there's just no guarantee that who I bring on as an OC is going to want you. I'm going to bring in the best person possible for this job, but it doesn't mean that you are part of this package deal is I guess. And who knows, maybe that's going to change. Maybe that can change. Maybe things change after Alabama. I don't know. And we're going to have to kind of wait and see how this plays out with Oklahoma. I would push back on the Nuss's first year is better than 2018 Joe Burrow. And I realize touchdown passes were way down for Burrow. I think Burrow was so clutch that year. I would give him the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, I think that is an X factor between the two, where like statistically Nussmeier was better, but clutch factor Joe had that and Nuss didn't. But I just think it was a limited offense.
Yeah,
like,
it has to do more,
it's that easy.
For sure.
Yeah, it was a ground game offense. So if we had leaned on Joe Burrow, I'm not sure it would have gone. Now they did the next season, but I think that's what a year in the offense does.